This is the Cary Harrison Show.
Cary Harrison with you, and this is the Cary Harrison Show on KPFK, along with multiple other affiliates, talking about having a good time. Now, let me tell you how much fun it is to have 3,000 streaming services and always feel like there's nothing to watch, even though there's more to watch than you can ever have time to do. But occasionally you cross smart shows. I love smart shows. Here's why. You look at the BBC, they force people to stretch a little bit while watching. Maybe a little play on words, maybe some metaphors. It's actually delicious and exciting. And when you talk up to the audience rather than down to the audience, we actually grow, expand, and become participants of whatever the characters are going through. Well, Apple TV, no slouch. As you know, I live in the Apple ecosystem. A show called Mosquito Coast. Many of you saw the movie years ago with Harrison Ford. Well, it's been rebooted into really a genius level, kind of radical, political, cool, fun show. And we have with us today Cosima Cabrera. And she's starring in season 2 of the Apple TV Plus series, Mosquito Coast, opposite Justin Theroux and Melissa George. Now, who is she? Los Angeles born to a Mexican father and a German Jewish mother. What a perfect blend. Actress, writer, co-starring in Mosquito Coast. It follows the dangerous journey of a radical idealist and a brilliant inventor. Not really radical if you're like you and me, it's like normal, but in this country for many, that's just considered radical, like let's do something, let's have clean air and water to breathe. That's pretty radical to me, and they do cool stuff. He uproots his family from Mexico and they suddenly find themselves on the run from the United States government, just like all the rest of us. And in this season, Cosima Cabrera stars as Andrea Battista, an alluring, wealthy Mexican woman and a Harvard graduate, even though she's actually a Yalie. So there's some acting right there. And she's a thorn in Allie's side as an imposing antagonist. So, Cosima Cabrera, welcome so much. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you so much for having me.
A sense of humor, even more to like about you. And you know, when an actor chooses a role, you have to actually kind of like it or be interested in it to say yes. And clearly there's a lot of backstory here that resonates for you.
Totally. Yes. So, I mean, the first thing that like really excited me, like even before I booked the part, was just like, so what happens, actors get breakdowns. It's like a description of the character when they're asked if they want to audition for something. And so when I read the breakdown, it said, Mexican, Harvard MBA. Like in my entire career as an actor, I'd never gotten the chance to even audition for a Latina who went to an Ivy League school. Like I'd never seen that on a breakdown before. And so like that alone, I was like, yes, I'm an Ivy League graduate. I'm Mexican. Yes. So I was just excited just for the audition. And then when I found out I booked it, I told my reps, I was like, this role is perfect for me. And then I was so excited because, you know, as Latinos, we like go out for, you know, working class, I have to do, you know, a lot of roles that are not really like in my background. And
sort of like the Hattie McDaniel story of, oh, you know, you're the cleaning lady or you're the cleaning lady. And if you're nice, you could be the cook.
Yes, and my first recurring role was literally on the cleaning lady, and I was playing a cleaning lady, and that was one of my favorite roles I've ever done to this day. Like, I'm so grateful. But yeah, this role was so exciting because it was like I actually saw myself for the first time, and so getting to do the show was amazing. And now that I've been like doing press for the show, I realized in doing press, I've never seen a Latino character who went to an Ivy League school on television ever before. And I started doing like research because I was like, am I wrong? Like, is this like a thing? And I've just never seen it. It doesn't exist. So like, I believe, and I would love to be corrected if I'm wrong, but I believe I made history with this role. Like, this is the first Latino character on a television series who went to an Ivy League school. So that's pretty freaking cool.
That is some serious bragging rights. Just like, if I understand this, your character of Andrea in this Mosquito Coast episodes, or episodes plural, originally written as a male character, but the show's creator ultimately decided, creators, that they wanted an intelligent and powerful woman instead. So there you are, breaking the glass ceiling. I mean, tearing through it like Willy Wonka's elevator on steroids. You've even changed the gender of what people had originally imagined. So that gives you kind of a responsibility you didn't sign up for when you went in acting school. And by the way, you're going to change the world. Huh?
I know. Yeah. I mean, this is like why I became an actor, is like to tell meaningful stories and like what has more impact than TV and film. Like I mean, obviously there are some like, Washington, DC, but like the entertainment industry is like huge for like influencing the world and how we perceive people. And like, yeah, when I had the audition sides, it still had Andres on it. And literally when I was like on set, my trailer still said Andres and they crossed out the S and changed it to an A. So like, it was so last minute. They were auditioning for male characters for this role, both in the US and in Mexico. There was actually like a male day player. He ended up getting cast as a security guard, and he said like, oh, I auditioned for that role. And one of the other actors was like, awkward, but he was like, it's better as a woman. It's more badass that way. And I was just so grateful that the creators of the show and the producers had the imagination to see like, this could be very compelling as a woman. So like, if they hadn't had that imagination, I wouldn't have this job. So I'm so grateful for that.
We're going to take a quick look at a clip here so you can see Cosima Cabrera in action, starring in season 2 of this Apple TV Plus series.
Mr. Albrecht.
What is it?
The AV tech saw 2 guys.
Bring him down. I am so sorry. Is your dad okay?
You told me things were iron tight.
They were.
Do we know who did this? Now we're all being held hostage? Carter, you know about my family. Whatever kind of show this is, my dad and I can't be around for it. Or my dad and I will have to deal with it. And be seen to deal with it. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
You find who did this discreetly and legally, and you bring them to me.
I am on it.
And for God's sakes, get some champagne or something. We've got a room full of investors standing around like refugees.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Everyone, thank you. Thank you so much for your time and your understanding.
That's Cosima Cabrera, season 2 of the Apple Plus series Mosquito Coast, running right now with cool actors like Justin Theroux and Melissa George. And let's talk for a second about women's...
Not Justin Trudeau, Justin Theroux. That would be really cool.
Did I say Trudeau? Well, that's my fantasy. But Justin Theroux has satisfied that fantasy by brilliantly pulling off what would otherwise probably not have gotten the same voice. And here you are, having taken a male role, it's become female. And let's look at powerful women in history. One of my favorites, of course, being Europa, or Athena in ancient Greek mythology. Think about this. The capital of Greece is a woman, Athena, right?
I love it.
She was so powerful, she kicked Poseidon's ass. Poseidon, king of the ocean. Don't screw with Poseidon. Odysseus coming back, busted all over the rocks a million times. But Athena, she's the one. And she is worthy of naming the capital of Greece after. Likewise, Europa, all of Europe, named after a woman, because they knew back then, before we had today's world, the power of women. And you're bringing that back.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely feel like that's one of the things that drew me the most about this character, was she's this powerful, badass woman. And yeah, like as a woman, you don't always get to play, like, I got to play a character who's in charge of like men who are decades older than her. And like her brother, who's like 2 decades older than her is like subservient to her. And she's like working with this older, like 50s guy, and like they're collaborating and he's like deferring to her. Like that's not often like a role you get to play as a woman. So it was just so cool.
Let's talk for a second, Cosima Cabrera, about the sort of plot lines of the show, more than just person steps over here and does this and that, but there's like a larger ideology at play.
I think so. Yeah, the show is smart, and it sheds light on a lot of issues and environmental issues, issues of class privilege. There's a lot, and like what's going on in Guatemala with tearing down the jungle. Like it sheds issues on like a lot of things.
Well, I appreciate your coming on today. We've been talking to Cosima Cabrera. She's in season 2 of the Apple TV Plus series, The Mosquito Coast, opposite Justin Theroux, as opposed to Justin Trudeau and Melissa George. She's a Los Angeles born, so she's one of our people. Mexican father, German Jewish mother, pretty typical LA if you ask me, although you are not typical because you're really pushing the needle, and I vote yes for that.
90.7 KPFK, Los Angeles. It's the Cary Harrison Show.